So I want to go through a couple techniques I've been messing around with on the tracker. First, credit to a YouTube video by a guy named Vesper. And in that video, I'll link in the description, Vesper demonstrates using randomized clip launching to create some glitchy edits. So go check out that video, especially if you're an Ableton user. I have tried to mimic those techniques here on the tracker, actually doing things a little bit different. So what I've made here is an example. So what's going on here, there's 4 tracks, 2 drums and 2 synth tracks. The drums, pretty straightforward. It's just a kick snare pattern, and that is sidechain into the limiter where we're getting these delayed randomized drum sounds. And on the synth tracks, I am also randomizing it. So every time we play the pattern, we get slightly different samples triggering. You do get a little bit of clickiness sometimes with certain samples on the tracker, but in context, so drums are switching using the random instrument effect, and I am shortening the gate using the Q effect. You can hear, if I extend the gate, you can hear more of the drum. They're obviously going through some delay, some filter modulation, and those are kind of getting a little bit of a pumping from the limiter. Can accentuate that effect. And on the synth sounds, what we have here is instruments that are set to a beat slice playback mode, and each of these samples has the exact same slice points. And what I'm doing here is we're triggering instrument 6 and we're randomizing it by plus or minus 2. So at any moment, anytime I trigger the sample, any one of these sounds could trigger. So what you get is the instrument switching legato because I'm going to a different slice as we randomize the instruments. So what I'm going to do now is try and build one of these from scratch so you can see the process. I'm going to use some friends of the tracker, Microfreak and Empress ZOIA. On the ZOIA, I've got a very basic patch I made to add some effects to the Microfreak since it has a very dry sound. All this is some of the stock Empress effects that are included in the ZOIA, and some of them are in series, some of them are in parallel, and depending on what I want to do, I can turn them on and off and adjust the parameters. So that will allow me to create something from scratch. So let's go for it. I'm going to use some drum samples. Let's make a new project. I'm in the latest beta firmware. I usually give myself a year and a month. And there we go. So the latest beta firmware has a new delay, which we'll go ahead and use in this. But first things first, let's find a kick. Go into my samples from Mars, Essentials, Found Sounds, Jupiter, maybe Jupiter. Bronx, maybe Bronx. Ooh, those are, that's hard. Okay, let's do that. And then, okay, why not? Let's see what we can do with that. Let's just do something simple, huh? So what I've got here is a kick sound and a snare sound, a kick snare together. And I've got some glitchy, alien-y sounds. It's pretty extreme. Now I'm going to do the synth. The first thing I want to do is figure out a basic pattern. Got my Microfreak here, sending MIDI in. I'm going to switch to an empty channel here. All right. And now let's take this and change it to channel 5. And let's see what that sounds like. Oh, it recorded 0 velocity. Look at that. All right, what we're going to do is record a sample. And the reason we need a sample is because we need a groove template. So I'm going to use this snare sound. I'm going to pitch it really high so that it's just a little tick. And let's listen to that. So you can hear it's the same beat, it's just a tick. A little tick. And let's bounce this. All right, more. Render selection. Yeah. Render and load. Literate grandfather. All right, render and load. All right, so now I've got a sample here. What I am going to do is auto slice this thing, put it in beat slice and auto slice it. And let's see, it looks like it did a pretty good job. Let's zoom in and find out. That's fine. We always want our first slice to be at 0. And that's the reason why I removed the micro timing from the first row. And so now, whoops, lost my place. Lost my place. Let's go back to literate grandfather. All right, so let's just adjust some of these to be as close to the spot as possible. Doesn't have to be perfect. And better to be a little bit before than a little bit after. All right, cool. So now, this is my groove template. What I'm gonna do is paste this into a series of samples and Then I'm going to record some lines. And to make this simple, I'm just going to use the same patch over and over again with some different automation and maybe I'll switch the wave type or something, just get some variation and switch the effects around. So the nice thing, one cool thing about the tracker is you can play a pattern and record at the same time. The trick is you can't have samples in it. So if I go here and I'm playing samples and I go to sample recorder, it stops the pattern. If I try and play the pattern from here, it won't play the samples, but it'll let me record the MIDI. So that's nice. I just usually mute all the samples anyways, just to do that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit record, hit play, and then, the one thing I need to do is make note of how long my groove is. My groove is this one. So what I'm going to do is go to the sample editor and see how it shows me the end, 5.35 seconds. Super important, because what I'm going to try and do is chop every single one of those these recordings to be 5.35 exactly if I can. The tracker won't let you get right on, but it'll let you get close. So all right, so let's do it. Let's record some samples. All right, and we are going to start here. You have to crop twice. So I'm going to crop at the beginning. Whoops. Crop. And then we're going to shorten it to 5.35. And crop again. All right. So it won't let you get exactly there, but it lets you get close enough. What I'm going to do is save this. I'm not going to save and load. The reason for that, really? Name church? That's a weird random name. Okay, 2203. I'm going to save it because if I just save and load, it'll create a new instrument. But what I want to do is overwrite my existing instrument down here, because this already has the groove. And if I load over the existing sample, it will preserve that groove. So let's do it. Let's go to recordings and 2203. What was it? Was it Receptive Spy? Yeah, it was. Okay, Receptive Spy. And now, perfect-ish, right? Doesn't have to be truly perfect. Let's keep going, right? I'm going to do one more. I'm going to change some things. Let's change the effects. Let's get out that reverb, get out that tremolo, the chorus, maybe, what is this? Is it a flanger? No, that's the delay. Let's leave the filter, throw in is this distortion or fuzz? Yeah, it's fuzz. How much fuzz? Let's see. Oh no! Yeah, that can happen if you aren't careful. User error. It's okay. It's gonna be all right. This is another thing. If you want to get some arpeggiation in here, what you can do is, I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to get rid of it. And what I can do is just remove these offs. And now, all right, so that's different. I can also play a few keys here, so. All right. Let's get that with some filter mod, yeah? All right. And start point, crop, and end point, 5.35, crop, save. All right. Fair boot. Loader. Whoops. Where's fair boot? All right. And let's overwrite this one. Okay, let's do one more. All right, let's quit while we're ahead and record that. That's fun. Okay. Crop it and 5.35. All right. Save it. Auto name drunk apparatus. Here we go. And save it. And let's go to the loader and load up that sample drunk apparatus. There we go. And add it. Yeah. All right, so in the interest of time, I'm not going to record a billion of these. So we're going to move to the next step. So I'm just going to copy this pattern so I don't lose any of this prep work. And whoops, what did I do? Oh. All right. And I'm going to remove, I don't need, let's see, what do I not need? I don't think I need this because I don't need those off messages given the fact that the audio recordings have all of the audio data in them already. And then I'm going to switch this to, what was it? What's the middle of my 3 instrument range? 16, 17, 18. So 17. All right. And now let us fill with every note a random instrument constant of 3. Wait, actually 1. Because I'm doing plus or minus 1. Oh, I get it. Silly goose. That sounded cool, but that's not what I want. I need to trigger different samples all along the way. So in order to do that, I'm going to start with a C, then do C sharp, then do D2, then do D sharp, then do E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, C, or B. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's see. So it has some promise. I mean, it's not beautiful, but that's the technique. I would probably want to like maybe normalize some of these samples a little bit. They're at different levels, so we can tweak the instrument parameters to kind of take care of that as well. All right. A little reverb ain't gonna hurt it. And then randomize it. So we're only using 3 tracks. Have fun with it. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do with it. If you actually spend some time finessing it, it can get pretty crazy. Thanks, everyone. Bye.